Greetings, fellow humans. This is Pat Callahan from All White Tukey. You're listening to another great podcast on the Four Eyed Radio Network. Yeah.
Hey there, true listeners. This is Kyle from the Longbox Cast, and you're listening to another great Four Eyed Radio podcast. For more great shows, check out foureyedradio.com. And while you're at it, check out our Facebook page at facebook.com/longboxcast.
When we last left our heroes, they just got done watching episode 7, and shit got real. Right, Matthew?
Yes. Oh, are you trying to? Are you doing the scrolling?
Yeah, I'm
thing?
trying to do the scroll thing. It's not really working. So yes, we all just got done watching episode 7.
Seven.
Oh, yeah.
So I guess before we jump into all this Star Wars-y goodness, we would like to let people know this is a spoiler episode. We will probably drop this about 20 times. So if you have not seen the movie, please shut off right now.
Spoilers.
I do not want to
Spoiler alert.
I do not want you guys to be hitting us up on Facebook going like, well, you spoiled the whole thing for me. No. Even though we said spoilers.
Spoilers.
Yeah. We'll try to give like a few minutes of spoiler-free commentary before we jump right into
All the
talking
goodness.
about the deep, dark secrets.
So I think a good way to start this off. So first impressions of this is the second time we've all seen it, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
we all seen it one time before?
Yes.
And then we went and saw it all at the same time right now.
Yeah.
The IMAX experience,
IMAX
3D.
experience.
3D experience.
So what I want to say, after seeing the trailers, all the different trailers dropping and everything, did this movie live up to your expectations of the trailers?
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Exceeded.
Exceeded.
I'm going to give you the long version. Yes.
Whoa, Eric,
Yeah,
we can't waste all that time.
I really think they did a fantastic job marketing this film because, yes, there was a ton of hype. Yes, there was a lot of short trailers. There was a lot of marketing as far as the toys and games and freaking oranges with the Star Wars logo on them. Yet nothing in any of those trailers gave away the movie.
Yeah.
I was still surprised by the storyline when I got into it. So
Yeah, absolutely.
I think that's effective marketing. Made me want to see it, but didn't give it away.
Yeah, which a lot of trailers now have been doing that, where they drop a trailer like, oh, this looks really cool. I wonder what the conflict is. This is the whole point of trying to see the movie, and then they drop the next trailer, and you're like, oh, there's the entire plot of the entire movie. I guess they team up to fight something.
I wonder why these two are having such a hard time getting along with each. Oh, Doomsday. Okay.
Spoilers. Yeah. But other movies have done that lately too. They've just been kind of like giving, I think we were just talking about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I think their trailer dropped and didn't give anything away. Showed you a shit ton of stuff, and you're just like, I'm pumped, I'm excited, good. Just leave it at that. Like, you can give me another trailer where there's, maybe a little bit of stuff, but just leave it simple. Just leave it this simple. And I think Star Wars did a fantastic job of it.
I thought after seeing the trailers that we did, leading up to the movie, I thought I had an idea of kind of how the movie was going to pan out. And I was very pleasantly surprised to see that there was a few things that I was like, yeah, okay, I kind of predicted that. But there was a lot of other things where I was like, oh, shit, I did not see that coming. So I love it. I loved it.
So
I love it still.
So can we all agree? Since this is a spoiler episode, we're going to drop something right now. Yeah, BB-8, the entire Sith Lord army.
I give BB-8 a solid lighters up.
Holy shit,
I
man!
fucking love BB-8.
I did not see that coming, man. He fucking just killed everybody. And it was like, holy shit! Like Hitler came out of it. It was fucking. No, I'm kidding. No, BB-8 was awesome. And someone did a good editorial cartoon where they had BB-8 at a bar and all these people were crowding around. I'm like, oh, BB-8. But then it shows Jar Jar Binks and somebody else in the Star Wars thing. I think it was an Ewok or something like that, but it was all like, we were loved ones too, or something like that. But I'm like, Jar Jar, you were never loved.
Yeah, I'm like, the Ewoks, yeah, there were people who were like, oh, Ewoks are cute. And then George had to go in there and like, oh, let's make him blink. You know what? It only served to remind us how creepy.
Too real.
No, it's too much.
Lucas, dial it back.
Too much.
No,
too much, George. Calm down.
The power of myth bears blink now. So
I'll tell you what. So R2-D2, iconic in
Yep.
the Star Wars universe. Love R2-D2.
Yeah.
But fucking BB-8. I mean, the fact that he's practical, he's actually real, and he has so much emotion.
Yeah.
And it really shows in the movie his little beeps and quirks that he do. If you listen closely, you can actually hear him say like BB-8.
Yeah.
Well, BB-8.
They had two people who were actually serving as
consultants.
Yeah, voice consultants.
Mm-hmm.
And one of those was Bill Hader.
Yeah.
So I'm like, no wonder he's got the comedic timing going on.
Ben Schwartzman.
yes.
Yeah. So like that's pretty cool. That they're like, it's not just random beeps and whistles. They put some thought into it.
Well, that was also like
R2-D2
R2-D2 though. R2-D2 had those kind of like he had beeps and emotions with his beeps and his screams. And so
he did.
I think R2-D2 kind of paved the way to be like, yeah, R2-D2 is iconic, and same with C-3PO, but we want to also bring in. It was kind of what I kind of liked about this was they were kind of bringing in. It's like here's the old, but we are bringing in the new because it's like the old isn't going to be around for ever kind of thing. So we want to introduce new stuff that's going to take over for the things. So I think the BB-8 is kind of like the new R2-D2.
Absolutely.
And so on and so forth with some of these characters. So you're kind of like, oh, okay, that's fine. But it wasn't like anything like basically what I liked about BB-8 is they used him and they used him well. His comic timing was perfect in this movie, but it wasn't the over-exaggerated of, here's Jar Jar Binks, and he's just going to be constantly in your fucking face for no reason. Like, this thing was worked out perfect, and especially, like, I love the fact, like, I mean, we're going to get into it, but, like, when they're zooming around and stuff, and he literally has to like kind of position himself. Like I'm like, well, how the fuck does he get around? I know he's a ball. There's only so much he could do.
Rolls,
and then all of a sudden, like
rocks and rolls.
Things pop out. You're like, oh, okay, kind of like
keep
building. Keep him stationary. So, but yeah, so trailers I think did a great job of not blowing everything for everybody. But yeah, BB-8 I think is, and they market that thing well. We had no idea what BB-8 was going to be. We had no idea like how important he was going to be in the story.
You didn't know if he was
going
to be a major player or just something that was there.
Yeah.
And they were just like, nope, here's a market, here's the toy. Now it's like I think if you didn't go out and buy that toy after seeing this movie, you're like, I kind of want this toy now. I like the thing. Actually, the thing we saw before the movie I thought was funny with J.J. Abrams actually saying how he took a BB-8 home.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, fuck yeah, who wouldn't take that? Like,
yeah. He was like, yeah, I stole one of those.
Yeah.
No, everyone's else like, I got a lightsaber. He's like, fuck you, I'm taking all the BB-8s.
Everybody's got lightsabers. Who's got this thing? The BB-8 is awesome. I love the fact that they are kind of passing the torch without it being a sharp, like, see this droid? We're just going to make you think. We're just going to force you to believe that this is the replacement for R2-D2. Instead, we're actually like showing how the transition has happened.
Yeah,
it was very well done.
Yeah,
and there's so many little things. You can just tell that it was made by a Star Wars fan.
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing about it that really struck me as you look at it. And there's so many little things that aren't even like you get a lot of the things that. You have to do the lowest common denominator stuff where you have to point out certain things because some people in the audience just won't get it otherwise.
Yes.
You've seen Dogma with the commentary track on, haven't you?
Yeah.
Have you? Matt?
Not with the commentary track on.
On the commentary track in Dogma, there's one part where he's talking about how Jason Lee's character goes into that house, and the first thing he does is turn on the air conditioning, and he's sitting here, he's got a monologue about how great air conditioning is, and he's standing directly in front of a vent. And Kevin Smith says, and see those red ribbons tied to the vent to show you that air's moving? That's because we have to assume that a certain percentage of our audience is going to be stupid enough to not realize, even though he's talking about the cold air, that the air's on unless they see movement.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
So there are some elements of that where there's like certain things where they have to kind of spoon feed you where we probably got it, but then they throw the line in there for the people who are, a little slower. But I think there was quite a few things in there as well that they didn't spoon feed it. So if you didn't know already, if you didn't catch it,
there was a lot of Easter eggs that were literally like,
you had those too.
When you saw it, You were like, holy shit, but it was very quick.
Oh yeah, if you blinked during the part, you'd miss it.
You'd miss it.
Yeah.
Like they did not try to sit there and go like, oh, your father was a Jedi, you know, and you're like, yeah, I know. Yeah.
They didn't die another day. It is what they did. That's oh my gosh, that was the most blatant attempt at. Hey, look at all these previous movies we made. Can we show you something from them, please? So you can not pay attention to how horrible this one is. They didn't do that. They did do it more like Spectre, where you had brief glimpses of things, and it fit. That's what was so great about it.
Basically, what we're saying is it wasn't a trap. But yeah, no, I thought they did a very good job with it. And the one thing I want to dive into, I know we're going to talk about this movie, dissect this movie, and again, I'm going to see it again for the third time this week probably as well, because my dad hasn't seen it. But it was funny. Like the one thing I have to notice is like I was very careful with shit, because as soon as I got done like seeing the movie, and then I went to like Christmas. Everyone's like, "Oh, you get to see the movie." I'm like, "Has everybody seen it?" Everyone's like, "No," and I'm all like, "No."
Yeah.
Okay. That's why I love. Are you in the Facebook group?
Yes.
The secondary Facebook group. Are you in the spoiler group?
Oh no, I'm not in the spoiler group.
Oh, you should jump in there. We're having these kind of discussions all the time. It's awesome.
See, I didn't know.
That's what I like about being online, is the fact that yes, there are a lot of people online who haven't seen it yet, and so I've been very careful not to post spoilers openly in public channels, but there are little hideaways online too, where people who have seen the movie can get together. And I'm a member of one of these groups. It's got several members, and we've had some really good conversations about stuff, theories, and just things that maybe people missed, and posting funny memes that also have spoilers and stuff like that. It's you guys.
Yeah, that's
should
actually
totally
some of
be
the
in
stuff I wanted to dive into. But before, like the one thing I want to say is like we were talking about this earlier before we saw the movie, is a lot of people are jumping on and like they're trying to be either hipster or whatever, and they're like, Star Wars, I don't care about Star Wars. Da, 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 da. It's like, okay, that's fine, that's great.
Right.
But that would be like if Matthew was a huge fan of Quentin Tarantino. And he's like, oh, I'm going to go see The Hateful Eight. And me just knowing that he's a huge fan of Quentin Tarantino would just be like, oh, The Hateful Eight, I'm not going to see that. It's all like, well...
Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
No, see, that's fine. If you're like, oh, Hateful Eight, I'm not... Because that's how I am. I'm like, Tarantino hasn't done it for me in quite some time. However...
Well, when
I'm
you
not going
sit
to,
there and let him do all the work,
I'm not going to
Eric.
write an editorial piece about how The Hateful Eight is not a movie.
Yeah.
Because I don't happen to like it. And that's the kind of thing we're seeing. We should probably go ahead and just we should probably just go ahead and jump into spoiler talk now, because one particular criticism that I've seen repeatedly over the course of the time that this movie has been out, that I think
Spoiler!
if we start delving into that, we're going to get into
Yeah, no, that's
plot
fine.
lines.
That's fine.
Let's just
Let's just do it.
At this point, right now, guys, if you've been listening, waiting for us to drop the hammer, the hammer has been dropped.
This is the hammer. Spoilers.
Spoilers.
Spoilers. Matthew, can I get a spoiler from you?
Spoilers.
Eric? Spoilers. All right, you've been warned. You have been warned.
Fast cars with spoilers.
Oh,
dude, you just ruined the plot to Fast and the Furious 8.
Oh, damn it. And Star Trek Beyond, evidently. Because everybody is assuming that just because, Justin Lin's directing, it's going to be Fast and Furious in space.
I don't care,
Fast and Furious, the first one, was actually a good flight.
You
know what I hope? I hope they just do that. They're like, look,
I hope Vin Diesel shows up.
Yeah, that's what I was hoping for. Like at the end, you just see the Enterprise and another Enterprise roll up, and the window comes out as Vin Diesel, be like, let's race, and everyone's like, oh!
The shuttle bay door goes down, and you just see him like nodding his head, and then he like flips us. You see the engines,
and then at the end, it's all like Star Trek Tokyo Drift is the next one. It's like, wait, what?
With family now.
Yeah,
that would be that would be horrible.
Anyway,
go ahead.
Okay.
So here's the thing that I've seen the most out of people who are complaining about the movie, and some people are saying, oh, it was good, but, and then the thing that I'm always hearing is that it's essentially a remake of Episode 4.
See, I disagree with that, because
Matthew, what's your take? I'm just curious, real.
Oh, that's fine.
No, not in depth, but do you think it was like a carbon copy of Episode 4?
No.
Okay.
I disagree, because I'm like, first off, people, not only is it a carbon copy of Episode 4, but you got to throw 5 in there too, dumbasses. There was Hoth on that planet. Come on. If you're only going to focus on one fucking movie, you might as well just do it,
I don't think it was a carbon copy. Do I think they have a lot of throwbacks and there's similarities? Definitely.
Absolutely, and not just throwbacks to the original movies, but there are definitely some plot designs and some thematic elements that are definitely pulled from the original trilogy, and especially from Episode 4.
Yeah.
But I watched Episode 4 last night, as a matter of fact, because I heard all this, and I was like, you know what, I'm going to watch them, boom, one day, then the next, and see if it really feels like a remake. And it does not. Yes, there are some similar elements, and if you break it down into basic plot points, you could find reason to believe that. I mean, you talk about, like, okay, you've got the unknown kid, basically, who is going to end up being our Force user, stumbles across a droid that happens to contain military information necessary for this rebellion / insurgency / resistance.
Yeah.
Okay, so you do have that going on. All right. And then she meets up with the older, more wise person who has to help her along her way. So you've got that kind of element going on. Of course, you've got the bad guy dressed all in black with a mask.
Okay, well, they already kind of told you that like Kylo Ren. I keep calling him Rilo Ken. That's his twin brother. I'm Rilo Ken.
Hadouken.
Yeah,
that's Ken and Ryu. My bad.
Kylo Ren, where it's all like they already kind of stated that he was like a huge fan. They didn't mention like anything, but it was like he's a huge fan of Darth Vader. So you can kind of go, well, if I'm a huge fan of Darth Vader, of course I'm going to construct like a lightsaber like his. I'm going to wear kind of like an matching, kind of try to follow in this guy's footsteps.
Yeah, he idolizes Vader, and that's made clear even in the trailers because he does show him like, I'm going to finish what you started, and then they show the mask of Vader, which a lot of people during the trailers were like, well, how the hell did he get that? Well, now it makes sense now that we know, because obviously Luke would have known where it was since he was there when they were burning the body, and he probably at some point, probably in an attempt to steer him away from the dark side, showed him.
Yeah.
Oops.
Here's the burial ground where I buried my dad. Spoilers.
Yeah. I'll just give you a map.
Yeah.
You've seen the original trilogy, right?
Yeah.
You've heard this story.
Look, the map is located in a BB-8 unit. If you find that,
BB-8.
No, but yeah, well, okay.
There's definitely some similarities, and of course you have the big things like people. Oh, that's just another new Death Star. Well, they said that. They basically pointed out that yes, it's a bigger, badder Death Star. And that's fine.
Okay, well,
it's fine.
The problem is everyone's trying to revisit these movies for so many years. They're trying to come up. They're trying to. You're trying to grab a new audience and still retain the old audience. Okay, but the same thing happened with Jurassic World. There's so many people that came out afterwards. Like we're like, I enjoyed it. I thought it was great. And then other people came out going like, oh my god, they just did this. And it's like, okay, first off, if you're really going to the movies, this is all I'm going to say now. If you're really going to the movies and expecting a life-changing fucking thing to happen after you see a movie, you're an idiot. Okay, you go to the movies for entertainment. Okay, if I left Star Wars and I was like, man, oh my god, this if I literally left Star Wars Episode 7 and was like, this was worse than Episode 1, then there's a problem. Yeah. Okay, but I came out going like, I really enjoyed this movie. Yeah. It took me back. There was parts where I'm just all like, oh wow, and I just liked the practical effects. I mean, yeah, they had to use CGI where they needed to use CGI, but at the time I was actually
It was seamless enough that unless you showed me side by side green screen shots, I wouldn't be able to pick out all the CGI elements.
Yeah, because there were some things
Whereas
I was looking
with Episode 1, everything was CGI, so it didn't matter.
Yeah, because I was looking at creatures going like, okay, is that CG? No, that's a puppetry. No, they built that. Okay, that's like I was trying to pick out like, okay, what's CGI, what's not CGI. Yeah. So he did a very good job of that. But like you were saying, yeah, so we have these people who are just trying to, I think they're just trying to shit on everyone's point.
You do get that. You get the people who are like, hey, okay, so this thing is really popular right now, so how can I get myself some attention? I know, I'll buck the trend. I'll be the guy who says it sucks, and I'll try to make up ridiculous reasons to why.
Can we do that with hipsters now? Because they're the trend. We can just be like, hipsters fucking suck. So,
but hipsters do suck.
No, I don't.
I mean,
we're stating
that's been going on for a while.
Yeah, that's not really a new thing.
But anyway, so we dive into Episode 7. Again, spoilers, everybody. But starts off, it just takes you back long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. Credits go scrolling.
You get the familiar title scroll.
Tells you what's been happening throughout Episode 6 to where we are now.
Yeah.
Princess Leia is now General.
Yeah, General Leia.
Organa. And she has a resistance base, and she sends her best pilot.
Yarr!
It wasn't Asian. I don't know.
Poe Dameron.
Dameron?
Yeah, I have the IMDb page pulled up just in case we need to
Oh,
reference.
cool.
Yep.
Okay, yeah, Poe.
So,
Popo.
Sends him on a mission to.
we sending the Popo after death.
He's the Po Bro.
To go down to Jakku, thank you, to meet with an adversary about this. What do you guys want to call it? Basically, a key, a treasure map.
It's a map.
A map.
Yeah, essentially, in the title scroll, they tell us straight up that Luke Skywalker is AWOL. He's like, peace out, guys.
I can't even.
Piss off. Yeah, Luke Skywalker literally can't even at this point.
The fuck you go.
And so bad things are happening in the galaxy,
yes.
And
the First Order.
The First Order has
had the Sith,
has risen
the Empire,
from the ashes
and now we have the
of
First
the
Order.
Empire. Yeah,
They're trying to be like Xbox. We did Xbox, Xbox 360, and now we're doing Xbox One.
Right? Yeah, they're going back. They're going back.
They are exactly. They literally are.
They are. Yeah, we have General Hux, who is basically Hitler McGingerpants. Because hey, who knew that Weasley kid could act, man?
He does a good job.
Yeah,
he does a really good job. His speech is good.
Yeah. Oh, scary good. You're like. I also love the fact that he's one of the few people who can stand up to Kylo Ren. It doesn't really have the same power, I feel, as
Vader.
In Episode 4, when Grand Moff Tarkin, he just bitch slaps Vader, basically. Mm-hmm. He's like, stop it!
Yeah.
And Vader's like, at that point, he's probably older than Vader, but not by a lot. It's not like Vader's a kid in Episode 4, you know what I mean? So the fact that everybody else is like terrified of Vader except for this one guy who opens his mouth and gets choked for it, and then Tarkin's like, sit down and shut up, Vader. He's like, all right. I'm like, damn, I want to be Tarkin.
You're not my dad.
Yeah.
Oh, where's your dad? Oh
shit.
Go to your room.
Little so Hux does have a little bit of that in that he's willing to stand up. He's basically on equal footing with Kylo Ren as far as in the eyes of the supreme leader, Snoke, who that's another theory fodder right there.
Yeah, I've heard
is Snoke.
I found which is weird because like some of the theories I've heard have actually pulled some stuff from Episode 3 to come up with that. But I did not know this until the credits were rolling because you could see things. We saw it in 3D. Andy Serkis was Snoke.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. But then I'm like, okay, is that we got a CGI character? Get Andy.
It's Snoke.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. There's a lot of talk. The most prevalent theory I've seen is that he's Darth Plagueis, who was, as far as I recall, only briefly mentioned in Episode 3 as somebody who he was Palpatine's master.
Yes.
When Palpatine was an apprentice. He's supposed to be dead because Palpatine was supposed to have killed him. However, in Episode 3, they also point out that he had become such a powerful Sith Lord that he had been able to control the midichlorians to the point of being able to extend life.
Yeah.
So it is possible that he didn't actually die or he was able to come back in some capacity. He's obviously pretty fucked up. I mean, his
face is...
Yeah, he's seen some better days.
What I'm actually curious about is everyone keeps pushing towards like this new like apprentice. They're always getting an apprentice. I wonder if they're pushing the apprentices so they could take over their bodies to become young.
I think that if it is Plagueis, he's rejected the old Sith ways because the Sith ways they always said there's only two, master and apprentice. That's it. Now we're dealing with the Knights of Ren.
Yeah,
and Kylo was supposed to be the master of it, and you don't really see a whole lot except in
Was he
Rey's
supposed to be
flashback.
the master, or he was the last of them?
He said master was the line. He said, even you, Kylo, master of the Knights of Ren,
have never
faced a challenge.
So maybe I just misheard it, because I thought he said,
I know,
even you, the last of the Knights of Ren. But
I'm pretty sure it was master, but
either way...
might have to watch it a third time just to find out.
Oh, shit.
Fuck it, let's go.
Either way... I'm curious to know about the Knights of Ren.
Yeah, and I think we see some of them in Rey's flashback.
Yes, we do.
The question is, how far back is that? Because that's obvious.
6 of them, 5 or 6 of them.
Yeah,
they're all standing in like a half circle.
Standing around him, and
one of them's got like a staff that has some type of like, I don't know, maybe their crest or something on there. Mm-hmm. But yeah.
Yeah. So the question is he the last of, or is he the master of, or both. Was he the master, but everybody else is dead? So they're trying to, because he's obviously trying to recruit. Basically, as soon as they find, oh hey, this chick's force sensitive, bring her to me, and we'll see if we can we can get her on our side. So yeah, you have that whole situation going on, and I wonder, because they're obviously not using the Darth title,
right?
So they're using this Ren title instead. So either this guy's entirely new, somebody we haven't seen before, or if it is Darth Plagueis, he has rejected the Sith ways and started his own thing.
Kind of evolved.
Yeah, I would.
It's like new management comes in. Look, I know Vader and Darth was a big thing, but we're gonna synergize some stuff here. Let's go Ren. Yeah. Ren sounds it's catchy, you know.
I have trouble thinking that he could be anybody that was associated with the Sith unless he completely rejected it, because obviously Kylo idolizes Vader so much. If he had even the slightest chance of taking on Darth as a title, he would have.
Yeah.
You know, he'd be jumping all over that shit.
Yeah.
He'd be like, I'm Darth Ben, motherfuckers, watch out.
Darth Ben. They're like,
I'm Darth Ben. We're gonna have to work on that.
We're Big Ben. No, okay, just stop.
Darth Big Ben.
Now, okay, so when that part happened, I mean, we're jumping all over the place, but speaking of like Kylo Ren's character, anyways, when that part was actually released for the first time, when you saw it in the theaters, when you were like, oh shit, that's Han Solo's kid. Did you guys see that coming at all, or no?
Well, that was another thing that there was a lot of speculation of before the movie came out. It's like, who is Kylo Ren? It was, for some reason, everybody assumed he was related to somebody. There was a lot of speculation that he was one of Luke's kids. Mm-hmm. I had only seen, I think, one brief and didn't get much traction speculation that it was Han and Leia's kid, even though that's what it ended up being. But there was people were saying that it was Luke Skywalker. That's how he wasn't missing. He was actually acting. I'm like, dude, guys, we've seen the face.
Yeah,
it's like, come on, guys.
We hired this guy to play Rilo Ken, fully masked and everything. But when the mask comes off, it will be Luke Skywalker.
I didn't.
Wouldn't be the first time they pulled shit like that. Just ask David Prowse.
Going into it, I did not know that he had any relation to Leia or Han. So when you first see him and he's talking to that dude on Jakku, which I hope you get to learn more about that guy, because obviously
what's that guy's name? He's a friend. He's somebody from the Old Republic.
Max von Sydow.
Yeah, his characters.
But his actual that's the guy. That's the guy who plays him. But it's Lord Son Tekka.
Yeah. I feel like he's like an uncle or something, or maybe not obviously not by blood, but like an uncle of Leia.
Okay.
I know I believe he's from Alderaan, which is why she'll always be royalty to me.
Yeah.
Because to her, she's a prince. To him, she's a princess.
Yeah.
I believe that's where he comes in.
Okay.
I don't know if that's anything out of the EU or if that's just something that they've done for this, but
right. But he makes a comment, especially when they first come face to face with each other, like, you know, I know who you are, I know where you come from, and this isn't you. And so that's really the first time that you're like, oh, okay, well, this guy has some relation to some.
We're gonna know where he's from too, obviously, or this wouldn't be a talking point.
But when they disclose that it's Ben and Leia's kid, the first time I saw the movie, I was like, oh shit, damn.
Yeah, I like how they did that. Even though you kind of saw it coming a little bit, because all of a sudden Han's involved, and then he's there, but he's talking to Snoke, and Snoke's the one who actually says it. He says, now you're about to be tested pretty damn hard because the thing you want is in the hands of your dad.
Yeah.
And so I kind of like how they did that, as opposed to a face-to-face, like waiting until a face-to-face confrontation between those two for it.
Just another transparent or telegraphed, I am your father.
Yeah, and then they also make sure that we know that Leia is the mother, even though they're separated. They want us to know that it's Han and Leia's kid specifically.
Yeah.
And they do that by when he's talking to Vader, when he's talking to Vader's burnt up helmet, he says, grandfather.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, okay, so he's definitely Leia's kid.
So it's just so what I like is too is like a lot of people are complaining like certain plot plot things or like, oh, this is like a remake or what they. One question I really had, so the Millennium Falcon just being left on that planet and was stolen. I'm like, you're trying to tell me you're like the best smuggler in the world, thief and everything that, and you got your own ship stolen from you? I'm not gonna believe that shit. I'm sorry.
Well, that happened in the original trilogy too. He lost it in a poker game.
No. Lando lost it in a poker game. There's a difference between gambling with your ship and getting it stolen. Now, if he said, I lost it in a bet, that'd be like, all right, I know you're a gambler. Okay. Luck isn't on your side. But you said stolen. There's a difference between stolen and gambling with it. So
well, I like that it's just sitting in the scrapyard with the bay door open, just like anybody can come on and take it out.
And here's where I read the novelization of the book last week.
Oh, nice.
And it follows along pretty closely. In fact, actually, I was, if anything, a little disappointed actually in the novelization because it was written by Alan Dean Foster, who's a fantastic sci-fi writer, and so I was kind of expecting a lot of embellishment and added detail, and there wasn't a ton.
Yeah.
In fact, there were some points when I felt like the movie actually totally outclassed the book in drama, and so it's like, okay. But there were a few things that were added, not like whole scenes or anything. We got like, I can only think off the top of my head of one like entire scene that was in the book that wasn't in the movie. In the book, they do actually explore, like after they show Finn waking up from crashing the TIE fighter, they go back and they show Poe waking up from crashing the TIE fighter and looking for Finn. So they show the other side of that as well. But there is, in that scene, they're talking about how when she's going for the ship and she's like, no, that one's garbage, and let's go for this one. And then it gets blown up and like, okay, I guess we're taking the garbage. And she points out that she sneaks in there at night and like fiddles around with shit. That's how she knew the ship. That's how she knew it would work, even though it wasn't great. And the reason that that Han wasn't able to find it until they went away is because until it was powered up, the locator that he had on it didn't have any power, so it wasn't transmitting a signal until they powered it up. As soon as they powered it up, that's when he's like, oh shit, there it is.
See, he does make a comment about how he was able to locate the Millennium Falcon, but again, that was just, it was like a really quick line, and then it was on to the next thing.
Yeah.
You know? So
it might have been just something that got cut out of the final cut to save space or time. But yeah, in the book, it does explain a little bit more about, the fact that she's not just going from just the Star Destroyer to the junkyard and back and forth every single day. She does other stuff as well and hangs around, and that's how she learns all this stuff, is basically sneaking around at night when nobody's watching. And
so let's talk about let's talk about the new characters.
Okay.
They're obviously these are our characters. Mm-hmm. This is where we're at now. So
these are going to be the people driving the story forward.
Exactly.
In episode 8 and 9.
And I think they're awesome. I love every single one of them. I love Poe. I love Finn. I love Rey. I love them. Yes, the casting's great. I think Rey especially is going to be a fucking superstar.
Can we just let's just take just a moment to talk about Daisy Ridley.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, she's got one of those faces that when she's just standing there, she's very, very plain. Not ugly or bad in any way, but just very plain. But the second she smiles, you want to smile too. You're just like, oh yes. And especially when she gets that big smile, scrunches her face. It's like, oh, you're so cute.
I think I'm just gonna, since I'm like, you know what, next year, I'm gonna make her my wife.
Tell you what, she was fantastic.
No, she was really.
I think she's doing a great job in the acting department, but she also is just perfect for that part. I think she's got the ruggedness that is necessary while still being cute and pretty too.
That's the thing. Like every character that they introduce you to in this one, I've liked. I'm on board with them. Like shit happens to them. I'm like, nah. I'm like, if you literally tell me in the next movie, like obviously we don't know what's gonna happen, but if literally Finn died in the next movie, I'd be pissed. I'd be like, let's fucking kill. I'm like, kill Kylo Ren. Fuck that guy. kind of thing. But it's like, but I did like the thing. I liked it because what I like about it is like Finn has like an idea at some point, like where what he wants to do with shit, but then it's like everyone calls him out on his shit. He's all like, "It's the right thing to do." He's like, "You don't have a pilot. I don't have a pilot."
Yeah.
Kinda, like, you know.
That's when Finn
Yeah.
meets Poe, because Poe gets captured and
And
Finn's
a big bromance.
I love how we meet Poe too when he's that whole scene. We meet Poe, we meet Kylo Ren for the first time, and we get to see Ren has some really sweet powers. He doesn't just toss people around with the Force; he actually holds them in place.
Yeah.
And in the novelization, they actually describe that more as it's not that he's like holding them in place physically, like somebody holding you down. It's more that he's actually restricting mentally your
your motor skills.
Yeah, your what do they call it?
I don't.
I would refer to
your voluntary motor skills. So you're still breathing, your heart's still beating because that's involuntary. But anything that you want to do, you can't. So you want to move, but you can't. But he also stops that blaster bolt in midair.
Yeah,
and it
just keeps it
and
there.
it just chills there until he just walks away, and it's like I guess he just wasn't paying attention enough anymore, and then all of a sudden, wait, we forgot about that. That was so awesome.
Well, yeah, even when Poe gets there, they knock him down. He's literally kneeling down in front of Kylo Ren. And he's like, "So who's going to start
first,
this?
You talk
this?
How does this work?"
And that with this like his snarky, just fucking sarcastic ass tone, you're just like, okay, I like this guy.
Well,
I'm having trouble understanding you with this whole apparatus. So yeah, we get to see Kylo, who's obviously the big bad in this film, and his seriousness. Yet, even in that scene, we get to see some of his impetuousness. We get to see some of his not necessarily thinking everything through. He just automatically assumes like, okay, well, the old man pissed me off, so I'm going to cut him in half. Oh, crap. I suppose I should have tried to figure out what he did with that map I was coming here looking for first. Oh, luckily, that really pissed off the pilot who shot at me, and now I found him.
Yeah, like it really does show with him, like you can see his age. Like you can see that he's like, he wants to be this great, Sith Lord and everything like that, but he still has like the mind of like, because I don't know what the age is on these kids. I'm guessing like they're got to be in their teens.
I think he's supposed. I want to say he's supposed to be early 20s or something like that, but an emotionally stunted early 20s.
Dude's he's got daddy issues. He's got mommy and daddy issues, and there's
Star Wars daddy issues.
There's scenes throughout the movie where he throws tantrums, and it's
which I absolutely
he just loses. He's very emotional. He runs off his emotions rather than being smart and thinking things through.
But I do like that. Like we were saying, like certain general, like the one general stands up to him and like basically be like, "Hey, shut up, do this or whatnot." But I just like the one where the one has to come in and tell him the bad news, and even before he even speaks, just that actor's face when he comes to the screen, just like,
not happy to be here today.
Yeah, so the droid is.
I so thought about calling out sick today.
Yeah,
and you can just even tell, like because no one wants to be in the room with this guy when he fucking loses it, kind of thing. Which later comes into play again for a great comedic moment in the movie as well. So so we have so basically you find out about Finn also in the beginning where he's like, I don't want to be a part of this.
Now here's my theory on the whole Finn situation.
Okay.
I think that Finn was actually the first awakening in the Force, as far as somebody suddenly coming into it, because that's how it seemed to me. Like he saw his friend die, which also is a brilliant move by JJ. Right at the very beginning of the movie, where we're getting the sense that these stormtroopers, yes, they're dressed in plastic and they're all the same, and we're supposed to think of them in the old films, we were always supposed to think of them as disposable. Yeah. Whether they were clones or whether they were droids or whatever they were always disposable. We weren't supposed to give a crap about what happened to stormtroopers ever. And right at the very beginning, he's showing this moment where one stormtrooper goes down and another one's like, and it's like, no, these are soldiers. Mm-hmm. These, they don't think they're fighting for evil. They think they're doing what they're supposed to be doing. And it isn't until something clicks. And that's what you see. even without being able to see his face, you see that moment where he's like, no, something right here. This does not feel right. And I think that's where he starts kind of coming into that. And I think that happened well before Rey touched the lightsaber. And I think that's when it happened for her. Because I don't think, there may have been some, with her being able to be such a good pilot and stuff like that, there may have been some Force action at play there. Mm-hmm. But I don't think it was, quote unquote, awoken until she touched that saber. And Snoke had already talked about an awakening before that point. So I really think that...
Oh, yeah, that's right.
I think they were talking about Finn.
Yeah.
Well, and they did set that up to be a pretty good thing, because even Finn said, he's like, look, I was taken from my home as an infant. It's like, this is the only life I know. I don't know anything about my family I'm never going to go back to. So, again, you also have these people who are basically just taking children and basically breeding them for this army kind of thing. So, yeah, they keep saying, like, Luke is the last of the Jedi, and there's no more Jedis and stuff like that. But I'm pretty sure if Luke went out and started training more people...
Yeah,
and obviously the dark side got more.
There's always been a bit of confusion in between the canon of the movies and the extended universe of the books and such as to just how what percentage of the population is potentially Force sensitive. And some of them it's like practically 1 out of 5 could be Force sensitive, in which case they could in theory be trained. Whereas in other storylines, it's more like 1 in 10,000. So it's very rare and few and far between. And then of those, only 1 out of 100 of those even are strong enough to actually be trained as a Jedi or something like that. So
is Finn like Mace Windu's like great
I really hope they don't make him related to anybody we've seen already.
No, I know.
I think that really downplays. I think they've done a really good job at the diversity thing going on here. And if they make him Lando's kid or related to Mace Windu, they're like, they're basically saying, "Hey, look, we only had one black family in the entire this entire galaxy." Okay,
There's like, wait, well, what happened to your son? Man, I lost him in a gambling thing. Is there anything you don't gamble?
No.
Then it's like they're making Star Wars The Next Generation.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm okay.
No, I think I actually like that idea. Not the Mace Windu thing or anybody being related, but I like the idea where it's like, it's like we actually get to see a stormtrooper like outside of its stormtrooper nest.
Yeah, you get to see that humanity of it. And yes, they're still the bad guys. You still see a lot of them die, and you're not really supposed to feel each and every one of them. But at the same time, it does kind of gray that area between right and right, because they're not inherently evil. Yes, some of them are. Obviously, General Hux is, and Snoke is, and Kylo Ren is, but the rank and file, they're just doing what they're told and what they've been trained to do from the very beginning. In the novelization, they even point out it's not just training that they receive. They're basically from birth raised to be whatever they're going to be, and it's not just training, but it's also propaganda. They're fed information in such a way that they believe one version of the story. So they grow up feeling that they're fighting for the side of right and justice, that they're fighting against this evil republic that's out to get them, because that's what they've been told. That's the only information they've had access to their entire lives.
Yeah.
So, one stormtrooper I want to talk about where we saw it in the trailers and we're like, oh, this is cool. It's like a silver stormtrooper.
Yes.
I do have to touch upon this because I really felt like, okay, you're the Boba Fett of this thing, because I'm hoping you step up in the next one, but you didn't really do shit in this one. What was it, Captain
Phasma?
Phasma.
Yeah.
Phasma.
Yeah.
I'm not
now
sure,
the woman who plays her is of course from Game of Thrones.
Yeah, she's the one who plays Brienne of Tarth.
Yeah, and I was super excited because I'm like, oh, cool, they put like a female general in charge of these things. I'm like, okay, you're doing a lot of diversity, in this entire movie, which is great. But then after I saw it, I was like, I think about it, she didn't do shit.
She really didn't. She was there for show. Now, I hope they get more into her story.
Yeah.
That would be cool. I would love to see her back, and I'd love to see more into her story.
Sure. I agree.
There's some backstory on her that you can find in it's official canon because it's official Lucasfilm stuff, but in the visual guide to Star Wars The Force Awakens, they have some like backstory about how she got her silver armor. Like she took the actual the silver, the chromium plating or whatever she took from like some battle she won, or like there's a whole like thing to it.
Okay.
And I'm like, that's
like a
pretty
trophy.
Cool. Yeah.
No, and that's fine. I just felt like you kind of made this really cool character, but then didn't do shit with it. And that, to me, was kind of like, oh, fuck, kind of like, I want to kind of see more about this thing. Hopefully you touch upon it. Just don't be like, no, oh, no, that captain, no, she died in the garbage chute.
Yeah, no, they put her in the garbage compactor and turned that shit on. She didn't have C-3PO to save her ass.
Oh, my. Oh, dear.
That was a great moment, too. Does this thing have a trash compactor? Yes, it does.
Actually, that was a great part, too, with, when Han and Leia meet up. I know we're jumping all over the place. It's just with, like, because everyone was going like, Luke's not in the trailer, this person's not in the trailer, C-3PO's not in the trailer, and then just C-3PO's, like, coming into the movie. You're just like, yeah, that fits.
You probably didn't recognize me because of my red arm.
My red arm, But, yeah, so, then Finn, obviously, he's not brainwashed anymore. Eric's theory, the Force Awakens in him.
That's my
His
theory
Force
for a couple of reasons.
times, especially he's like,
every time he saw Rey. But...
What's that blue thing? It's not a lightsaber. Oh, shit, none.
It's
my blaster?
Fairly well established in the extended universe that it's virtually impossible to fight with a lightsaber unless you do have some sort of force sense, because it's just too hard to wield. There's no weighted balance. There's nothing for you to respond to as far as weight. And so it's been shown, again, this is in the extended universe which does not count technically towards canon. That's why the only time you see anybody wield a lightsaber other than a Jedi or a Sith is when Han cuts open the Tauntaun.
Yeah, see, that's what I'm
curious about. And he's like, literally, turn it on, cut, turn it off, done.
Well, see, that's what I'm curious about, because I like that idea. That makes sense where you go, okay, people can use, people who have the Force of the thing, but then I know Marvel Comics, I think those are now considered canon, because Disney owns Marvel, and the Star Wars is owned by them, and Marvel's doing the comics. There's actually a comic where they didn't have blasters, and they found lightsabers, so Han was wielding one, Leia was wielding one, which makes sense with Leia. But then Chewbacca, he's got to have some force, because he had fucking two. He was going ape shit.
I don't know how that plays out. I know, technically speaking...
I know Han still wasn't a fan of it, so...
That's canon, for sure, is just the movies and the novelizations of the movies and the one book, Shadows of the Empire. Everything else is technically extended universe, even the comics, the games, even the stuff that's officially produced by Disney and Lucasfilm. But, again, I'm taking this from extended universe
that's
anyway,
fine.
So I'm not saying that that's definitive, but it adds up for me that, we see him literally have this awakening. He's there, he's like doing his job, and then he's like, oh shit, what the fuck?
Well, it would make sense if you say there's that army that Kylo Ren is like the master of. If those other Sith Lords are still, or Ren Lords, or whatever the fuck they're called.
The Knights of Ren.
The Knights of Ren are still around. Of course, Luke is going to be like, well, I'm going to need more than just like one fucking person. He's like, did you see? Okay, I will have to say this. Again, we're spoilers and stuff like that, but fucking Mark Hamill had the easiest job in that entire fucking film.
Mark Hamill kills me. His sense of humor is just so great. I was telling you guys before we started recording about it. Years ago, some fan brought to him at a convention or something one of the original cards from one of the trading card sets.
Yeah.
That was a picture of him. And it said, Luke, the caption was, Luke comes home to find his aunt and uncle dead and his house on fire. And they brought this to him at a convention to sign, and he signed it. I guess I can go to Tashi Station anytime I want to now. Somebody had asked him on Twitter after the movie came out. They said, how did you respond when you read the script and saw you didn't have any lines? You know what the reply was?
No lines.
Speechless. I was like, that's a fucking class right there.
But
yet, without any lines, you still saw everything you need to see. They're just looking at each other. She finds him. It's like, oh, he's there. And she's like, she pulls out the lightsaber and hands it to him. And she's not just handing it like, hey, this is yours. She's like, we need you to pick this thing up and come back. And he's like, I don't... Okay, fuck, I guess I have to.
Oh, that's what you got from it? I thought she was like, motherfucker, train me! I only won against that battle because I wounded the motherfucker! Go out! So I was hanging out with the black guy.
No, I saw it like he turns... Like, you could tell he pretty much knew
she was there.
what had happened.
Yeah,
he knew she was there, obviously, but I'm sure he felt.
Yeah, he just turns around. What the fuck are you doing here?
Yeah. Oh shit! You scared me.
I'm sure he felt what had happened to the Hosian system.
Yeah.
Anybody who was Force sensitive felt that. I mean, they even show it again in the novelization, which I think is just a piece that was cut out because they hadn't yet really introduced Leia's character. We hadn't seen her at that point, but in the novelization, she does that. She does the Ben Kenobi like, oh crap, there's been a disturbance in the phone.
Yeah.
Like she knows that people have died without them. In the film, they show them actually being able to see it from where they are, which didn't make sense to me because I'm like, they're not in the same star system. They're like somewhere totally different. They also described the weapon a little better, I think, in the novelization. It's not just a laser that shoots from this thing to
whatever target.
Yeah.
It
actually, they called it a sublight weapon. Basically, it actually travels through hyperspace. The energy beam actually travels through hyperspace faster than any ship. So it's not just shooting at it; it's traveling to it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's my theory. I'm sticking with it.
I think Rey is a Skywalker.
That is the prevailing theory.
After
as
seeing
to
the
her
movie again today, in my mind, there's more. There's
No,
more
no.
evidence that
It leads to that.
Leads to
Well,
me
especially like they
feeling
said,
that
like
way.
how the I don't even know what her name
there's
is.
a couple
but
of things that really point to it,
which
for
is
me.
all like it. Your father.
It was
Your
it was-
grandfather
this was
had
Luke's
it. This was
lightsaber. His
Luke
father had
Skywalker,
it,
and then now it's
calling to
yours.
you. Yeah.
So yeah.
So there were, I think for me, 3 major moments that really spoke to me as being like, okay, they're putting this to be directly related to either Luke or another one of Han's kids, but I don't think they would do that.
Yeah.
First of all, it's like you said, with the lightsaber, it was Luke's and it was his father before his, and now it's calling to you. It's like, well, why are you specifically pointing out the parental lineage and then adding her onto the end of it? The fact also that when she touched it, she did have that flashback where Luke was.
Mm-hmm.
They saw, she essentially saw Kylo Ren attacking and killing the other Jedi that Luke was training. You see Luke, like leaving R2-D2, which I thought was a really cool parallel too. Did you guys notice like Luke puts his hand on R2, and then later when R2 is back up and C-3PO is like, "I've missed you, old friend," and does the same thing, same hand on the R2. I was like, oh.
Oh, that's how I lost my arm. Luke ripped it off and.
Well, even like during the flashback sequence as well that you're referring to, we see Rey as a young girl.
Yeah.
And the ship leaving that left her on Jakku with the smuggler dude, Simon Pegg. And then
spoilers.
When she's grown up on Jakku and she lives in an AT-AT, she looks out and you see another ship that's leaving the planet. So that similarity, I think, also comes into play as well.
Also, the fact that she like put on I know she's probably just goofing off or whatnot when she puts on the fire, the helmet.
Yeah, she puts on the rebel pilot helmet.
It's all like, well, Luke was a pilot, so it's like.
There was another moment.
I'm not a fucking child when he flew planes. You fucking episode 1 piece of.
When Kylo Ren is trying to interrogate her, when he's going into her mind and pulling things out, he says, I see, I see what you're imagining. I see what you go to sleep dreaming about, and I see the ocean and I see the island. And then where does she find Luke? On an island surrounded by a big ass ocean. I'm like,
no, I think seeing for a second time. The only reason that it threw me off the first time because I kept hearing about, like, I know Han and Leia had a son and a daughter, which I think they've already
in the books, yes.
Yeah.
But it wasn't. So it's that they've already made sure that we know it's not them, because in the books it was Jason and Jaina were the twins that they had first, and Luke had Ben. Luke and Mara Jade had a son named Ben.
Yes.
So,
well, and then there's been a couple of things actually watching it, like we said the second time, even with Han Solo, she'll be doing stuff and things like that, and he looks at her kind of like, okay, this has got to be Luke's kid, kind of thing. Like, I think we found her. Kind of thing.
There's a couple of moments with Han where just the way he looks at her, and it's like, okay, he knows something.
Yeah. Like
he's recognizing something, just like he was able to figure out Finn pretty quick.
Yeah.
Han's a smart guy. He may not. I mean, there's an argument to be made that he is slightly force sensitive as well. I've heard people make that argument. That's why he's such a good pilot and things like that. I don't know if that's necessarily the case, or if it's just more of a just being good at your job type of thing as a smuggler and a negotiator, somebody who has to be able to read people. But he reads people pretty damn well, and I think he sees something. He recognizes something there.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting how that plays out. But yeah, the prevailing theory is that she is Luke's daughter. The question then becomes, did he put her on Jakku to try and hide her from... See, that's where it starts to make less sense, because how old is Kylo Ren supposed to be compared to how old she is? I know she's supposed to be, I think, 20 or 21, the character, Rey. She was obviously dropped off. What she look about 5, 6, maybe 7 at the tops.
Yeah, I mean, it's very hard to kind of.
So we're talking about at least 15 minimum between 12 and 15 years have passed that she's been on Jakku. So how young was Kylo when he turned on Luke? Was he 12 years old when he turned, and now he's 24, 25?
Or could it always be a thing where, what I'm also curious about? What if no one knows? What if Luke, he had relations with a woman, had no idea she was pregnant, went to go train,
go to bed with me.
Kind of thing. And then all of a sudden it's
You
like
will not expect
now
me to
they're just
call in the
finding out
morning.
about this kind of stuff, and maybe when the woman was like, oh well, this Jedi son of a bitch just left me, I'm just gonna leave this kid on the. If that's not the case, if Luke knew he had a daughter and he just kind of left her there, then I just have to say the Skywalkers are horrible parents. Every single time shit hits the fan, they're like, leave him on a desert planet, bye.
Where's the nearest desert planet?
Yeah.
I think we'll
Clean your room, or you're going to end up on the next desert planet we visit.
Oh man.
I think we'll learn more about it in the next.
For
the
sure.
next movie,
For sure. But it is curious to kind of wonder, like, okay, was she left there because they were trying to hide her from Kylo, from the First Order, from Snoke, or was it a matter of, did Luke not even know? Like with the case of Luke himself, they were being hidden from Vader, and Vader didn't even know. It's curious. I don't know if it's hard to tell if the timelines match up right for that to be the case. It might be something more like Steve said, where he doesn't know that he had a kid until
they
the
meet.
moment she's standing before him. He's like, shit, I sense your DNA in me.
Yeah.
I sense my DNA in you.
He's like, oh shit, those are some metachlorians. I gotcha.
So that's what I really liked about this film, is that it really felt like it was made by a Star Wars fan.
Yeah.
Whereas with episodes 1, 2, and 3, we all know that George Lucas is not a Star Wars fan. Look at how much he's gone back and changed the original movies. Like, a fan does not go back and tweak every little thing here and there. No, it's his job. And with the prequels, it felt like he was just trying to do too much explaining. And it's
for no reason.
When
they threw in that metachlorian kind of bullshit, we're like, we get it. We know what it's like.
It's the fucking Force. We don't need...
Here, we can break it down very simply. Look, I'm colorblind. You guys aren't. So you guys, it's either like, I can have Jedi powers because I'm colorblind, or I'm actually shittier because I'm colorblind and I can't see shit. There. That's just basically... It's like, you either have the Force or you don't have the Force. That's simple.
It didn't need that explanation. It didn't need that scientific explanation. It was like they were trying to cater to certain groups of people who are like, oh, no, I need a technical scientific explanation of the Force. No, it's the fucking Force.
Yeah.
I like that that's what their thing was. Not like, how does the lightsaber know when to stop? Like...
And they're like, no, let's not worry about that. Let's worry about the midichlorians.
There's midichlorian bullshit over here.
Yeah, the prequels, they lost a lot of people with the midichlorians, and then, of course, not only that, but then they're like, oh, and Anakin was conceived by the midichlorians. He was a virgin birth. It's like, oh.
I was like, why?
It's like on the one hand, you're like trying to like, let's take it as far away from religion as we can. It's no longer just a mystical energy.
Yeah.
No, it's these little actual microscopic creatures that we can test for. But also virgin birth.
Yeah.
And also the fact that I didn't like there's like, again, like, it's like, when Obi-Wan Kenobi, when I met your father, he was a great pilot. And in Phantom Menace, he was a little boy. Like, what the? And then no mention of Qui-Gon Jinn. Like, don't get me wrong, I liked the character, but it was just all like, oh, that's right, I'm Liam Neeson, you know.
I did like the fact that we got to hear Obi-Wan.
We did.
And
he says Rey.
They actually pulled that from. Obviously, they couldn't get Alec Guinness to record it, sadly, but they did pull it from original pieces of from the original trilogy of him saying. What was it that he's saying that they pulled? I think they pulled it from him saying the word afraid, and they pulled just the Rey for him to say that.
Well, they had a couple of just voices actually in this one. They had also Ian McGregor.
I was about to say you got to hear two Obi-Wan. You got to hear old Obi-Wan say Rey, and then you got to hear young Obi-Wan say, "These are your first steps."
Now, I didn't hear this. Did you guys know this? Frank Oz.
I didn't catch Yoda. I was listening for it the second time because I knew
he was
apparently
supposed to be
there.
Yoda was in it,
but I didn't hear it even the second time.
And then even when you mentioned how it was Simon Pegg was the voice of the quarter portion, I had no idea that was him.
Got to talk about the greatest cameo.
Yeah, Matthew actually told me this. I'm pretty sure I know what you're going with, but Matthew told me this when, because I was like, yeah, I thought so-and-so was supposed to be in this movie. And Matthew's like, oh, this is where he's at. I'm like, oh.
Stormtrooper JB007,
yes,
as he's credited on IMDb. Daniel Craig was the Stormtrooper in the cell that gets mind-tricked by Rey to let her out. That's just so fantastic to me.
So I do want to talk about some of JJ's humor I thought was great in this movie, such as that, where it's all like, the simple, and then like, drop your gun, dropping my gun,
And I will drop my weapon.
And then, but I love the thing where like, Kylo Ren comes back into the room, and then you just see him like, and you hear the lightsaber go off, and then the two stormtroopers just come walking around the corner, and they just see like shit in the fan. And they're like,
one guy taps the other guy's like, "We're gonna nope the fuck right out of here,"
around and just walk away. You're just like, yeah. Do you really think like? And it kind of gives you also like the sense of like they are more human-like than they were the clones.
Yeah.
Because the clones would be like, "Oh, sir, what's wrong?" Kind of thing. But they're like,
"Do you need something else?"
It's like, look, I get paid.
Do you need something else to cut up? I could come in there for you.
Yeah, it's like I get paid, but not that much. Fuck this, kind of thing.
And they're like, yep, I'm out.
And JJ obviously debunked Clerks now.
Oh, whether or not the average stormtrooper could install a toilet main.
And then of course we found out that Finn was sanitation. So you're just like,
what did you do here? Sanitation.
Yeah.
Which obviously made it easy for. Oh, do they have a garbage compactor here?
Yeah.
Yes, we do.
I'm trying to think what else was pretty like some of the people that just showed up. They were just like, oh, but yeah, it looks like they got pretty much everyone pretty much came back from the original that they had in the thing.
Yeah.
Well, either those that could or those that they actually were like, no, you're in this movie, not like, because we don't know what happened to Lando.
Yeah, that's the one thing. Like I said, I hope that they don't make him related to Finn. I think we need to. I don't think we need to send the message that there's only one black family in the entirety of the Star Wars universe. But it would be interesting if he's still around, because the actor's still around. So I wonder if he was
Billy D. Williams.
Billy D. Williams.
Yeah, he's actually been on. What was it like? He was just like a couple of seasons ago. He was just on Modern Family.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So
so it would be interesting. I mean, honestly, I'm glad they didn't shoehorn him in just for the sake of shoehorning him in.
So that's what I'm thinking. Like a lot of people like that were in there, like they need to be in there. Like they're like, oh, okay, this makes sense. You're part of this. You're part of that. That's just why you're here and stuff like that. It wasn't just like.
Yeah, they were able to throw a lot of people in there from the original, like Akbar and what's it? Yub, whatever.
Akbar, we need you on the bridge. I'm taking a crap.
We got to see some of those people. But it made sense because they were obviously with the rebellion. So if they're still around, they're going to be with the resistance. Whereas how would they bring Lando in unless he was just friends with Han? Because Lando wouldn't have had anything to do with the resistance. He would have been like doing his own thing. So unless they specifically went somewhere where Lando would be...
He's like, look, I'm just poking women and leaving my children across the galaxy. That's all. I fit. Damn it, we told you not to do that. Doesn't matter. I'm Billy D. Williams.
Damn it.
Later.
So I'm glad they didn't just like force it in there without having it make sense, because that would have sucked if it had just been like, we're just going to...
Yeah, no, I figured that, or they're going to do the smart thing, be like, we didn't see Lando until, like, pretty much the second, episode 5 anyways.
Yeah, he wasn't in episode 4, so...
So, I mean, they could always... I mean, there is a time and a place to throw, like, people into stuff, to run into... I mean, it's like we got a whole fucking universe in time now. It's not like... Yeah. Honestly, I don't even think, like, are they really going to be like, this is episode 7, 8, 9, and that's it? I highly doubt it with Disney...
Not unless it stops making money.
Yeah.
This movie did become the quickest to $1 billion ever.
Mm-hmm.
Shit hasn't even been released in China yet.
Yeah.
It's going to make so much bank in China.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. This movie is going to be raking in the dough for quite some time because there's so many people. It's not just like Jurassic World had a great opening because people went and saw it. They wanted to see it. They were excited for it, and then they went and saw it. And then that was it. They'd seen it. Some people liked it. Some people didn't. But there weren't as many people going, I'm going for the second, third, fourth time.
I think
Whereas this movie, I know, besides ourselves, I know off the top of my head at least 5 people who have seen it at least 3 times.
Yeah, well, even with Jurassic World, it was more of I saw it when it came out, and then I saw it again because I think it was for, like, Father's Day or Mother's Day. We went to go see it. So you're like, all right, yeah, I'll go spend time with my parents. But it's like, it wasn't one of those things that I sat there going, like, I don't want to see this again. I'll be like, oh, fuck, I'll go see it again, something like that. But this one's like, I saw it. Okay, so when I went to see it, I saw it by myself the first time. So that was fun. Mm-hmm. And then you get to see it now with people, so I'm like, okay, cool. So it's like, yeah, this is a movie I'll definitely, because like Matthew and I were talking before the movie started, I'm like, yeah, I'm going to try to check things out. I'm going to try to see, like, okay, what do I notice this time around? What do I not notice this time around? So,
yeah,
kind of thing. Because when you first watch it, you're kind of like, holy crap, okay, the story, oh, this is cool, oh, it's Star Wars, oh my god, kind of thing. But now this time it's like, okay, I know what's going to happen with the majority of stuff, but now I'm going to pay attention to different things.
Yeah.
So even with like the flashback and stuff, it's like I didn't even realize like he had like all the guys look kind of exactly like him. Mm-hmm. I thought they were just like shadowy figures behind, Kylo Ren after he was killing like a bunch of people. So I'm like, oh shit,
Yeah.
So
that's where I didn't catch the first time that those like, oh okay, I guess those are the Knights of Ren.
Mm-hmm.
Before I just thought, there's just some people hanging out, like maybe they're troopers, maybe.
Hey, you killing somebody? Yeah, I'm just slaugering Jedis. Can we just stand around here to
hey,
go?
Yeah, that sounds cool. I want to watch.
No, it's cool.
Can I watch?
Cool. The one thing I do want to talk about is his lightsaber.
Yes.
Now, the cool thing I liked about it, if you notice, like, throughout the entire, like, Star Wars, all of them or whatnot, like, the red lightsabers usually look just like the blue lightsabers, you go with the red thing. This one looked like very jagged, very hatred, very, like, almost looked like a miniature chainsaw thing going on there.
The technical reason behind that they've written into the storyline is that it's homemade by him without the proper instruction. Because in the Jedi lore, the way it's supposed to work is you go through your training, and one of your final steps of training is building your own lightsaber under the direction of the master who's supposed to be teaching you. He didn't get that far, and so he had to build this lightsaber himself, and it has a cracked crystal. The focusing crystal in it is cracked, and the reason that it has the cross guards is not for cross guards. It's not for the sake of having cross guards. It's because the crystal would shatter if it had to focus the energy outward only. So he had to build vents onto it to allow some of the energy to vent out, because it's just not quite there where it should be.
Well, that's kind of cool.
It still does the damage because it's a dangerous weapon, but it's just not quite fully built.
But I will say this, though, like, everyone was like,
which is why he wanted Luke so bad.
Well, that's the other thing. I think it's funny that how everyone was making kind of fun of it, but I'm like, that was fucking hilt things kind of came in handy when he was just like, so.
Yeah. It's on the one hand, it's like there's a reason swords have cross guards like that. On the other hand, would that actually work with a lightsaber? Because the vents themselves, unless they're there's only like one metal in the Star Wars universe that can't be cut by a lightsaber, and it's heavily regulated. And the chances that if he had that available, he probably would have been able to do a better job building a lightsaber.
Mm.
Now that is one thing that kind of bugged me. I'm still trying to figure out a good working theory as to why this happened. Now it made for a cool scene, but why in a universe in which basically the only person who's known to have a lightsaber is your boss? Why do you have a specifically anti-lightsaber weapon? And you just have this one trooper that happens to have the specifically anti-lightsaber weapon.
Oh,
the shock trooper type thing.
Yeah, who had the electric baton basically that was specifically designed to fight against a lightsaber. I'm like, okay, it made for a cool scene. I'm like, yeah, all right, we get to see this fight. But I'm like, why does this guy have this?
Now let's put it this way. Now, see, this is my theory that happened. So going back to the silver stormtrooper, now don't you think it would have been badass more if she had that?
It would have been,
and it made more sense because she was higher up.
Yeah.
She would have a thing for that just in case, because to me it would be like she's probably have fought a couple of Jedi in her time.
But we wouldn't have gotten the cool scene of him getting saved by Han by shooting that particular trooper in the chest. Cause
I understand that,
but it would have been cool that would have made a little more sense to me, because that guy didn't even have a rank shoulder pad, did he? No. He was just like, traitor! Yeah. Like he obviously knew him, like he obviously was like in his same division or something like that. Because he
there going like, did you build that? No. No one else has one.
How long have you had that?
Shut up.
Is that what you've been doing in your spare time? Man, I thought you were just jacking off, man. Good for you, man. Good for you.
I'm not very good with blasters.
It was a cool scene. It made for a fun action piece, but at the same time, I'm like, okay, so basically, all the Jedi are gone except for Luke. Luke doesn't even have his lightsaber. He hasn't been seen in many, many years. Like, really, they're just going to be like, okay, every trooper division has one guy with an anti-lightsaber weapon.
Yeah.
Never mind that the only people that you might run into with lightsaber are your own boss or a Jedi Master who's going to toss you across the room before you ever get close enough to him with that thing to do anything. So what's the point?
I'll volunteer to hold it.
Somebody's got to hold this.
Well, that's probably what happened. He's like,
he saw Finn pick up the lightsaber. He's like, oh, it's my fucking
it's
day.
my fucking time.
It's my day. I've been training for this.
Or it was the other way where he's all like, man, this is why I hold it, dude. I don't have to run on a battle. I was like, basically, my job is to watch this. Anybody who shows up with a lightsaber, that's who I...
Oh, crap.
Are you fucking kidding me?
Damn it.
The one time
I was sick today.
Fuck. I've got tomorrow off, too.
I have one day until retirement. I will say this, though. What I liked about the Stormtroopers, you could actually see when there was, like, male and females.
Yeah.
Which I thought was kind of cool, where they're really like, everyone can die.
That's one thing. I wonder, why do they still make the Stormtroopers run around in that bloody restrictive armor when it obviously doesn't stop shit? Didn't see a single Stormtrooper take like a shot off the armor and be like, all right, I'm going to keep coming. Nope, every single one of them that get hit, go down.
Why?
Like you're wearing plastic buckets. Why?
Why on the Starkiller base do they still have a fucking walkway with no side rails? Are you fucking kidding me?
You know what? They probably don't have anybody come in and actually go safety code. Like, does these helmets...
Where's OSHA? Where the hell is OSHA up in here?
It's been fucking 30 years and still... Oh, it started having walking, like, guardrails, and it's just like, we ran out of budget.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, if you get this far, you should be like in the middle by then. We give you rails to get yourself centered.
It's like, first off, our Star Killer thing sucks in solar beams and shoots them out. Do you really think I care about a guardrail at this point? I'm destroying planets with this thing. I'm destroying planets. Come on.
Apparently not.
Like, well, just be glad we don't have the safety. No, this is what happens. Safety instructor comes by. He's like, hey, you don't have any railing. Yeah. We don't get it. We pass.
We got it, yeah.
Oh, man, you really are evil. Shut up. No, it is true, though. There are some times where I'm just like, did you fire the decorator at some point? Look, we need a railing here, but I really want to have some pink. Get out. I said black on black. But yeah, so do we want to drop some of the big stuff before we wrap up this pod?
Yeah, go for it. What do we want to talk about?
Well, I was just going to say, so
are we talking about the scene? Is that what you want to talk about?
Well, there's the
scene.
The scene. So you do find out that Han Solo's son is Kylo Riley.
Billy O'Reilly.
Is Ben Solo apparently? So then he pretty much kills Han Solo. Where I was like, oh shit. Which I was kind of hoping, I saw.
They set it up. Yeah, you see it coming when they walk in. Like he walks up to him. He's, Kylo Ren's walking away. Han Solo comes up behind him and yells out Ben, and he stops and turns around, and you're like, oh crap, are they going to do this? And then you see Chewie turn, stop, and he's watching. And you're like, oh crap, they're going to do this, aren't they?
Yeah.
And then Finn and Rey show up to watch too, and you're like, oh crap. It's like that moment it's going to happen, yet you still want to believe, and the actors sell it. Oh my gosh, the guy playing Kylo Ren, I can't remember the actor's name.
I think it's Adam Driver.
Adam Driver, okay.
Because he drove that thing right into him.
Ouch. It was really hard to tell at what there was. He went back and forth. He literally, and he says, I'm being torn apart. And, you could look at that and say, okay, he's saying whatever he wants to say to get his dad to let his guard down so he can kill more easily. But he didn't have to do that. He could have just literally any time. I believe that he was, at that moment, literally battling within himself. And it wasn't until that last second. And you see the light change because the star that they're sucking out finally dies out. And you see that light change and you just see that. You literally see that change in his face where he's just like, nope, gonna do this.
Yep.
And then he's like, you see that moment of like, yeah, I did it. Oh, yeah, I did it. And then Han reaches out and touches his face and he's just like, oh fuck,
shit.
I did it.
Yeah.
Oh, what did I do? And so for that brief moment, you're like, oh. It's just, so he did not solve any of his internal dilemmas by killing his dad at all. He's still pretty fucked up inside, if not more so now. It's going to be interesting.
But I will say this: I like the fact everyone goes, "No, Han, dies everything," but Chewie, no, Chewie does his stream, but it wasn't like the whiny little we gotta get the fuck out. Chewie's just like, fuck that, shoots him, and fucking starts taking out fucking stormtroopers like a motherfucker. I did like those in the thing where Han got to touch. Play with Chewie's crossbow laser or whatnot, which is great because he's like, I kind of like this, after the kick on it.
I think that could have been a little bit of setup because they wanted to show, they showed how hard it was to hurt Kylo Ren in the first place. Rey was shooting at him, he was deflecting the beams. He's been hurt. It seems not to affect him very much. You've seen other people get shot with Chewie's bowcaster, and they made it a point to show how powerful that is compared to all the regular blasters. Mm-hmm. And Chewie gets him a good shot right in the side, and he still keeps going.
Yeah.
So it's to show. That's one of those little things I was talking about that I think JJ threw in there for the people who would catch it without spoon feeding it to everybody else. When after he's hurt. He's sitting there. He's like, he's weak. He's falling down, and he starts hitting the wound. He's like, ugh. He's pumping himself up because that's how the dark side works. It feeds off of fear and pain, and so that's what he's like. Fuck it, pah, pah. Starts hitting that belt thing he's got on, and you see the blood dripping out. But then he perks up because that dark side energy is flowing.
Which I think
is
going to be funny because when Rey starts getting trained, I believe, hopefully, it's gonna be funny if she's more powerful than Ben is, and then how much that's gonna.
Well, I think that's almost a definite because it's always been.
There's already little flourishes of it.
Yeah, he comes in there. He's like, no, she's really powerful in the Force. She doesn't have a clue, and then when she escapes and they're trying to search it, he's like, she's only barely scratching the surface of her powers right now, guys, so we need to find her quick. So yeah, she's definitely going to be super powerful. They've always said that the light side of the Force is more powerful than the dark side of the Force. It's that the dark side is easier. Because it's easier to get angry, it's easier to be in pain, it's easier to hate than it is to love and be happy and to feed on that type of energy.
Don't know what it's in one of the books or something like that, but it came up with the cool thing where it's like Luke Skywalker was able to channel both of them, where he came up with a good yin and yang, where he knew how to use the
whole gray Jedi thing for a while, which was kind of interesting. And that's, they always talk about balance to the Force, and I think I always talk about moderation is the key to everything. It's like I think the same probably goes with the Force, but it's interesting. They showed in Shadows of the Empire, there's a really interesting scene where, how in Return of the Jedi they show Vader in his little like pod thing that opens up. In the book Shadows of the Empire, they explain what he's doing in there. It's basically this little seclusion pod where he just goes in there and he takes off his helmet, takes off some of his stuff, and he just hates. He just sits there and thinks about all the people who done him wrong. He thinks about Obi-Wan pissing him off. He thinks about it, Padme leaving him. He thinks about all these things that piss him off, and he just channels that anger into healing his body. And he actually, is able to like heal himself using the Force to the point where he's almost normal. And it gets to the point where when he's healed to a certain point, he loses the power because he becomes slightly happy about it. He's all of a sudden he's like, oh, cool, I'm a little better. And then that snaps this like flow of dark side energy he's got going on and basically reverts everything. He's put the mask back on, come out of the pod. But I just thought it's a really interesting scene, and taking from that and then JJ giving us that Kylo trying to pump himself up with that energy without force feeding it to us.
Yeah.
He could have been like, where he's like, the hell are you doing? And he's like, I'm using the Force, the dark side. He's like, I'm using Force. I'm using the dark side. And I'm like making the jerk off motion. I'm like, hey, oh.
I had a shake. But okay, so overall we all like the movie.
No, I hate it.
Absolutely.
And then I figured we'll hit on this real quick so we don't keep everybody, because we all have families and stuff to go home to. Thoughts on the next one? Can you wait? How we have to wait a while though, but
obviously we'll learn more.
We don't have to wait as long as we did for this one.
Yeah,
so on the bright side.
2017.
Yeah, I think we got a year and a half.
Plus we're getting one in between, so
Rogue One.
Yeah.
Obviously we'll learn more about Rey and Finn. We'll learn more backstory, and I want to know more about Snoke and all that shit. So
I hope we get a significant amount more Luke. I think
it'll just be lukewarm.
It kills me how much work Mark Hamill did to get into shape to be in this film for 35 seconds or however long he was on screen. Seriously, he hit the gym. He when they announced Mark Hamill's going to be in this, and they showed a picture of him going to the studio, and I'm like, ooh, doggy.
He's like, when I met your father, he was a great Jedi Meister. I got really into Jedi.
I was hearing Kevin Smith saying a Jedi craves lunch.
But then he comes. It's like that happened. But then we saw him on the Flash, and you're just like, holy crap! Like he was like skinny as fuck.
Yeah, he got fit. He's still an older gentleman, but he definitely got a lot fitter than he was. And it's like, all right. So I'm hoping that's in preparation for even more.
It's got to be, because they're okay. First off, we got to see Luke Skywalker fight.
Yeah.
And you're gonna have him training and other people and stuff like that. So, but I don't know what it is, but his facial expression though when he first turned around, it was literally like a senile old man where he's just like, eh! Like to me it felt like they're like, look, just stand on this rock and we'll tell you when we're filming. And then you just kind of turn around and be like, someone's here. What?
I didn't get that sense. I got so much out of his face in that scene. Like he turns around and he's like pulls back the thing. You see the robotic hand. He's not covering it up with a glove or anything, and he just looks at her, and you see, like, to me, you see that the recognition. Like he's like, okay, I know who this is, but he's not. But he's reserved because he doesn't know that if she knows who she is in relation to that. And then she pulls out the lightsaber, and he's like, I literally see the conversation happen on his face as far as like she's like, we need you to come back, and he's like, but I don't want to. And then she's like, no, seriously. And he's like, oh, okay, fuck it. Well, I will.
Oh, that's what you got from it?
That's what
I thought mine was like, didn't I leave you on a fucking planet?
Yeah. How the fuck did you find me?
Yeah.
God damn Maury Povich and his damn tests.
Well, yeah, his eyes in that scene say a lot. they start to well up a little bit. You can kind of see that. You look, and then it pans back to her, and she's just like desperate.
Yeah, she's literally like, we need
holding
you,
it,
and
almost like starts to shake the lightsaber a little bit. Like
she's like,
holy shit! Like,
do you see me? Oh man!
It's not like a T-Rex where it follows the light.
It's a very powerful scene, but I think they cut it off right where it should have been. They might have been able to shave off maybe a couple seconds because it's going back and forth. There's no talking or anything like that, and it's almost like, okay, this is getting uncomfortable. And then it goes back to Rey, and then it ends. But yeah.
Well, you
It's
get
like
that.
Mark Hamill's about to talk.
You get
he's
that
like,
final pan around where they kind of reiterate. They're like, oh, by the way, they're standing on an island. In case you hadn't caught that part yet.
Yeah.
They kind of like do that one final pan around in a circle, so you not only see them, but you see that. Okay, it's literally just the two of them out on an island, and if you think back, you start to think about those sorts of things.
What if the next one it opens up like in that same scene, and like Chewbacca comes up and he's like, "Hey guys, I've been fucking down there for like 2 hours. What are you guys gonna do?
Yeah,
Are we
what's going
leaving?"
on? Yeah. R2's getting antsy.
Yeah. R2 has to go pee.
Be like, R2 can't come up all these damn steps.
Yeah.
All right, so
And fuck, I
do you have
can't
some
come up.
facilities down there somewhere.
He's like, I can't even come up these steps because of my bad knees. I just had to get knee surgery.
It'll be interesting to see where they pick up. I would like to hear more of the story of what happened in this span of time. Like, I understand why they jumped that far ahead, because they did want to use the original actors in their original roles and not have to CGI the hell out of them, and I appreciate that. But I do want to hear more about how, because basically what we have at the end of Return of the Jedi is the rebellion essentially defeats the Empire. Obviously, there's still going to be some cleanup that needs to be done to clear it out, but essentially you've got the forming of the New Republic going on here. And we're already thrown back into, okay, the New Republic's shit.
Yep.
They're corrupt, they're not doing anything, they're kind of allowing this First Order to rise up and start taking over again. So you've come to a point where it's like, okay, we had a rebellion against the Empire, and now it's come full circle to where we need a resistance against this First Order when, hey, what the hell happened to the Republic during this time? I'd really like to know.
I would like to know that too, because to me it's like, look, we did this before with Clone Wars. We've solved this problem, and then now we do it again. It's like, do we not learn in the Star Wars universe? Like, history really repeats itself. Come on, people, get your shit together.
But it's going to be fun. I'm excited. I am definitely going to be checking this one out at least one more time in the theater, if not multiple times. Real quick before we close out, I do want to say, did you guys enjoy the 3D better than the 2D? Because we've all seen it in both now, right?
Right. Yeah.
There was some cool parts, like especially on the snow and the fire
snow was
stuff
fantastic.
and everything coming down and stuff like that. But honestly, to me, it just was just like kind of almost like when I play like my 3DS, where just all like things come at you. You're like, okay, that's kind of cool, but I could take it or leave it. I mean,
I think I enjoyed the size of the screen and the better sound system.
Yeah. Yeah, the size of the screen at the IMAX was definitely fantastic. For me, the 3D was... There were some scenes that was really awesome. The snow and the in the beginning when you get the sparks from the fire and you see that kind of in the foreground, it's like, that's pretty cool. And there were a few of the actual space scenes with the ships.
Yeah.
But for the most part, when there were people on the screen, the 3D was more distracting than anything to me, because it was always like, there was especially one scene when they're in the Falcon talking, and it's like, here's Finn and Rey
they were
talking,
blurred,
and they're
blurry
blurry in the background while Han's and I'm like,
and
but
then
no,
it
they're all
transitions
three
over.
supposed to be in focus.
I know exactly what you're talking
Yeah,
about.
so I mean, like I said, I know they're still working on 3D and stuff like that, and certain movies it works for, and certain movies it doesn't. I would say, just experience the movie. If you haven't seen it yet, and if you listen to this all the way through, then you did not listen to any of our spoilers. But yeah, this is the first 3D movies. I could see where certain movies I would see it in 3D. But like other ones, like if like especially a lot of like normal, I don't know, Disney movies where they're always trying to push like watch it in 3D. I'm like, I don't no. Like there would be no point to most of that kind of stuff. It's like fast.
There are definitely movies that I think it would. This is one of those movies that I would have thought it would have been perfect for, but like I said, certain scenes it worked, certain scenes it just didn't work as much.
It did get blurry though, like when like the Star Destroyers were coming up, like really like when they were turning and shit.
Yeah.
You're like trying to focus on it. I'm all like, well, that's just a blur.
Yeah.
Yeah, it kind of gets temperamental at the very beginning where it's like, hey, you're at IMAX and we're starting and all this shit like that. I was like, oh fuck, this is gonna be insane.
Yeah.
And then it was like, oh, it's like another it's like a 3D movie I've seen before.
Yeah.
It's like the quality just isn't quite there.
Yeah, it's not quite there yet.
Yeah.
Once they can finally do just the thing that like Nintendo does, where it's all like, here's the 3D, you don't need glasses. I think that works 10 times
I think
better.
the problem with that is the focal point,
Yeah.
because in order to do 3D without glasses, you have to have a very specific focal point on it. And for a handheld gaming system, you set that, don't you, to yourself? Like,
Yeah,
don't
you
you set it?
Or you just
and
be
then
awesome like me.
Like, this is basically where you hold it. Whereas in a movie theater, you've got to cater to the entirety
Fuck those people.
of the
Just cater
theater.
to me. I didn't wear. I don't have any glasses. What do I care?
That was the other thing. The IMAX 3D glasses did not fit as well over my glasses as the ones they gave us when we saw Gravity. I felt Gravity was better 3D than this, quite frankly. But like I said, it wasn't bad. It was just I could definitely take it or leave it. There were elements that were pretty awesome in the 3D.
The sound system
System in the IMAX was
The
fantastic.
sound system was amazing.
Yeah.
that totally made it for me. Feel like you just feel it in your body and things like that.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
I guess you could feel the force.
Yeah.
Well, we were kind of jumped all over the place.
Yeah.
Tends to happen, but highly recommend it. Go enjoy the movie,
Yeah,
and I'm just happy.
Go watch it again.
I'm happy Star Wars is back.
Yeah.
It's back, baby.
Me
Woo!
too.
So until next time, kids, live long and prosper.
Okay.
Kidding.
We'll see you next week on Babylon 5.
Babylon 5. But we'll say, everybody. Eric, Matthew,
Yes.
may the force be with you.
May the force be with you. And with your spirit.
This has been another fine production of the 4i Radio Network. For more great shows, check out www.4iradio.com.